me see what's wrong with this plant. Today, we're not just talking about what is wrong with your plants. We are talking about when something is actually wrong versus when your plant is just being a plant. Most of the time we are Googling and searching and panicking over something that might be completely normal. Let's get into it. So if you're new here, I am Tony, growing right here in Central Florida, Zone 10A. Welcome to the garden. So the issue you may be seeing is this one, yellow leaves. So it all depends on where you're seeing yellow leaves on your plant. If the bottom leaves are turning yellow while the top is okay and it's pushing out new green growth, this one, which I can tell you, you see little baby green here? This plant is fine. This is one of the most common issues we see. The plant is shedding what is no longer needed. Those bottom leaves did their job. They were the first leaves. They established the plant. Now the plant is moving the energy upward and letting those go. So pull them off. You want to keep your plant clean so it can continue to focus its energy on producing nice, lush green leaves. But let me show you a different plant that do need some help. Now this tree needs my help. This is my citrus tree. It is a kumquat. So let me show you why. As you can see, the leaves are pale. Some of the leaves look like they have washed out, almost like lime green instead of a deep, healthy green. This one is a totally different story. The plant is hungry. How do I know? I haven't fed it in a few weeks, so I can't be surprised. But there's also a reason why it's hungry. It's producing fruit. This tree is working very hard to give us fruit. So what do we have to do? You gotta feed it. You got to give it what it needs at that time. Before I go any further, I want to explain something about feeding your plants and understanding what you're feeding it, because we typically grab fertilizers and don't really know what they're doing. So every fertilizer bag has a number. You'll see them something like a 10-10-10 or 24-8-16 or something like this, 5, 3, and 2. Those three numbers are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, in that order always. So nitrogen grows leaves. Phosphorus and potassium grows flowers and fruit. So if that first number is way higher than the other two, that fertilizer is going to push out nothing but pretty green leaves. The numbers do not have to be identical for it to be balanced. It could be something like a 6-4-4 and it's still way more balanced than a 24 or 8-16. What you're looking at is how far apart they are, not whether they match exactly. So now let's return back to that plant that needs my help. So coming back to this, when your new growth is coming in pale and lime green, this plant is telling you it needs to eat. Because in Florida, our rain and our heat flushes out nutrients out the soil really fast. And if you're growing like something like this, a pot, and you're not constantly feeding it, it's going to tell you there's a problem by the weight of the leaves. What to do and how to fix it, right? So you can hit it with a compost tea or a fertilizer where those three numbers are close together. Your new growth should start coming in darker within about a week or two. As you can see right over here, see, I fed this about a week or two ago and the new growth is turning green. So that is a good sign. Now, if it's still yellow after you fed it, what I need you to do is check your pH. If your soil is above 7, the plant cannot absorb nutrients even if they are right there and you have fed it. The mouth is locked. What you can do is bring it down by using sulfur, or you can raise it up by using lime. Both of these are available in your garden center, so you just want to pick up a cheap pH meter so you know which direction you need to go before you add anything. I'm gonna need you not to guess and just throw things in your plants and hope for the best. Again, my lazy method is compost tea. It works quicker and you do see your plants reacting way quicker, and it's cheap. Very, very cheap. I love cheap. That is my cheap way of feeding my plants, especially the plants that need help right away. Before we continue, if your plant is dealing with something I may not cover today, make sure you put it in the comments and I'll meet you there to help you figure it out together. So this next one is not producing, or it's just giving you leaves and no fruit. So right behind me, this is my Seminole pumpkin. And these leaves look beautiful. They're green, they're lush, but it's not giving me that much fruit. Before you diagnose the problem, I need to ask you one question first. How long has it been in the ground? Because sometimes a plant that is not producing is not sick. It may not just be ready yet. Every plant has a day to maturity. That is how many days from transplant or from seed it typically takes to start producing fruit. Tomatoes, depends on the variety, it can be anywhere from 60 to 85 days. Peppers are very similar. So however, if you're growing something like a squash or a pumpkin, it can take about 50 to 100 days depending on what you are growing. If you're still inside of that window, your plant is not failing. It's establishing, it's getting itself ready, especially if it's in the ground, because in-ground plants spend the first part of their life building their root system. You cannot see that happening because it is. But if it's in a container, the plant may push fruit faster because the roots do not have as much room to expand. But in the ground, plants take its time to get its roots established first. That is a good thing. It is getting stronger. It's going to produce better plants later. So give it some time. So just know your variety, know your days of maturity, and check the seed package. And if you don't have your seed package, just look it up. That's something you can Google. Now, you may say this plant's been sitting here and it still haven't done nothing. Then we can diagnose. The most common reason is too much nitrogen. So you remember those 3 numbers I explained in the last section? If the first number is the highest, you've been feeding it leaf food. So what it's going to do is react and give you a lot of green leaves. So I love to use fish emulsion. I love to use chicken manure and coffee grounds because I have those readily available. But you cannot use them every single week and expect the plant to shift into producing fruits. These are high nitrogen inputs. They are great during the early establishment phase, but once the plant starts to produce, you need to back off or switch. So you can move into something where the second and the third number are the highest than the first. So you can use a bloom formula, something that's telling the plant, go ahead, it's time for you to flower. The other reason it will not produce is not enough light. We have a habit to stack everything together and just push everything and just throw seeds and just hope, oh, it's going to produce. You can be shading out the plant and taking away the light that that plant needs. So most of our plants needs about 6 to 8 hours of sun, just direct sun, before it actually start producing fruit. If that is not happening, there's no fertilizer in the world that's going to fix that. And if you are growing in containers and it's been a while, there's another thing that I want you to check for. It can be root bound, and that is when your roots have nowhere else to go, so the plant gets stressed. A stressed plant does not give you flowers, or it may also give you little fruit. You want to pull it out so you can see if the roots are circling on the bottom or is coming out of those drainage holes. That means it's time for you to upsize that pot. So I'm gonna tell you my secret, because honestly guys, as I have way too much plants to try to babysit and try to figure out what it needs, I love to use compost, because compost release slowly over time. It introduces the right microbes into your soil. It doesn't just dump all your nutrients at once. It doesn't shock the plant, and it feeds the plant how it actually wants to be fed. I have a whole video about compost. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the link here. You can check it out. More information about compost, but that is my go-to for most of our plants. It's my cheat code. I'm not gonna lie, it's easy. This next one I'm gonna bring you to is this little sad looking plant right here. I should play sad music for it. It looks like it's wilting, it's slumped over. Before you do anything, the first thing I want you to do is just to test your soil. And that's just going in about 2 inches deep. See if the soil is wet. But if your soil is already wet and it's still wilting, before you add more water to it, it can be root rot. So what that means is your roots have been sitting in too much moisture. They brown and mushy, and they cannot move water up into that plant anymore. So if it wilts, even though there is plenty of water sitting right there, there's something wrong with that space. There's something wrong with that area. So if it's in a pot, you can pull that plant out, and if it's white and firm, it is healthy. There's nothing wrong with the plant. But if it's brown, black, or if it's soft and it smells rotten, that's root rot. So if you catch it early, you want to cut every rotted root off clean. Let the roots sit out of the soil for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then you can repot it into a fresh mix that drains well. So if you don't know what that is, just make sure you add some perlite into whatever you're potting, because it's going to help bring it back to life. Most of these plants in pots are always trying to commit suicide, so you just got to look out for it, because any second, give them any reason and they try to die on you. Don't let that happen. Go check your pots. This next one, I'm going to use my palms. If your trees has these brown tips, or it looks like someone took a lighter to them, that's heat stress. It's inconsistent watering. The plant lost moisture faster than pull it back up. And how you can tell the difference between this and the disease is that crispy and dry means dehydration and heat. If it's mushy and brown, it means fungal. It's too much moisture sitting on those leaves, and those causes are two completely different issues, and you don't want to treat them the same. For crispy edges, you need to water more consistently. You don't want it to be bone dry, because again, these last few weeks in Florida, we haven't been getting that much rain. It's just going to make it worse. The other thing is you want to look for is look at the location. If it's getting like this western afternoon sun in Florida summer and it's not a true tropical, it's going to keep doing this no matter what you do. The best thing you can do is move it or use a shade cloth in the worst month, which is May through September. Is really hot, so that plant needs some type of protection, some type of help to make it through this hot summer, or it's going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You may show up one day and that plant is filled with flowers. You're excited, you're pumped, and you check on them every day, and then one morning all of this is on the floor. The workaround is you want to get tomatoes flowering in March and April before the heat locks in, then again in September and October after it backs off. That is your Florida window for certain plants. In summer, you can also try to hand pollinate in the early morning when it's slightly cooler. You can do that by using a small brush or use your fingers from flower to flower to help that process. The other best thing I can advise you to do is get the right variety for your climate, because in Florida I had to learn that I need to grow heat tolerant varieties. Like I have Everglades tomatoes, this one is Sweet 100, or just any type of cherry tomatoes handle this heat way better than large slicers. So just match your varieties to your conditions and it will help. Also, I know that we struggle with certain squash, so this time of year is where I'm growing my Seminole pumpkins. They love this heat. Also okra love this heat, so you just got to match the plants with your zone and planting it at the right time. That's going to save you a lot of heartache when you see all your flowers dropping. So this next issue is this. You're seeing holes like this, right? These are perfect circles. Clean round holes with small dark pallets on the other side of that leaf. That is a caterpillar issue. That is, they're dropping. It means the caterpillar is up there right now, like hornworms on tomatoes, or you may see loopers on the cabbage family plants. These are army worms in Florida summer. So you can flip the leaf, find them, you can pick them off or spray them, or you can use a BT. It's basically an organic spray. It targets caterpillars specifically, and it would not touch your beneficial insects. If you start to see sticky residue or the leaves are curled for new growth, that typically means you have aphids. So you can blast them off with some water and follow up with some neem oil consistently, because I used to not be a fan of neem oil, but you got to be consistent if you're going to use neem oil, and you want to do that when the sun goes down so you're not burning your plants. The most important thing I want you to understand about pests, they go after plants that are already stressed. So a plant that is hungry or has root bound or is not getting enough light or getting too much of the wrong fertilizer is an easy target. So the best thing to do is fix what is stressing the plant, and your pest problem usually will get easier. As I mentioned in the prior videos, spray is temporary. It's just managing that symptom at the time, but it's not going to get rid of anything. It's going to keep coming back. The other best thing I love to do is companion planting. So I'm not going to go deep into that, but I did break it down in another video. It is basically growing things together that invite insects to eat your pests. So others may deter the wrong bugs just by being nearby. A lot of pests that you see here, if you get rid of them, you're going to miss out on the opportunity for the beneficial pests to come in and take care of them. So just know your environment, build it, and it'll take care of itself. This next issue you may see is leggy. Leggy is different. They're tall, they're thin, they're leaning, the leaves are spaced far apart from the stem. The plant is reaching for light and is not getting it. It's pulling everything into height instead of building a strong structure. You end up with a weak plant that cannot support itself. because it needs enough sunlight. I mentioned this before, that most plants needs about 6 to 8 hours of sun. In Florida, direct sun still may kill it, but it needs 6 to 8 hours of sun. There's some exceptions for that, like tomatoes. So if your tomatoes is leggy, what you can do is bury the stem during transplant, and the roots will form along the berry stem, and you get a stronger plant out of it. That only works for tomatoes. Everything else, it needs more light. So these next few are in your control. I'm gonna show you this one right here is a broccoli. It's the wrong season. You can't plant broccoli in the middle of July and think it's gonna grow. Wrong seasons, it's gonna sit there and do nothing. They're gonna be small for the entire time until it decides to bolt. It doesn't belong there. The next one is flowers on your baby plants. If the flowers are there, it is too early and it's just going to not build the roots and now. So you can go ahead and just pinch those flowers right off. I know it hurts, it really do. So take them off one by one. Let the plant actually produce and let the plant build its structure before it starts producing fruit. It takes a lot of energy to produce fruit. So if you leave these flowers on, your plant is going to be small and it may give you 1 or 2 tomatoes. It's not going to produce like it needs to if you don't pull those tiny first bloom of flowers off. That applies to your strawberries, your peppers. It's best to just pull the flowers right away and let the plant get established. It hurts, I know. There's some plants that this one I should have been pulled the flowers. I said this one before is overcrowding garden beds with plants touching each other. They cannot breathe. That's how bugs or pests move from one plant to the next, because there's nothing there to stop them. Give them adequate space, and that is going to help with pest issues that you see in your plant, and it's going to help with growth. When you pack plants together, you are hindering that next plant from getting the energy it needs to grow, because they're fighting in the same space to grow. So let me bring this all back together so it can connect and everything we just covered today. Every single problem we cover, everything we went through comes back to the environment you are creating for your plants. Soil that has life in it, good drainage, nutrients available at the right time and in the right form, allowing enough space for air to move and the right plants to grow together so the garden works as a system. That is what companion planting builds. That is what good compost builds. When the environment is right, most of what we covered today, you'll stop seeing. It'll stop happening in the first place. Build your structure, build your foundation, and stop reaching for quick fix. That is how you fix whatever it is that you're going through. So drop a comment and tell me which section helped you the most to get you through your garden right now. I read every single one of them and I love talking to you guys. So until next time, I'll meet you in the comments. Bye.